und sehr nettes Left Behind mit drin. Schön, dass unsere Folgen mittlerweile im BTS mitten im Satz anfangen, aber Left Behind geben wir uns noch und dann ziehen wir, vielleicht, keine Ahnung, obwohl, na, heute Abend glaube ich nicht. Werde ich wieder bis um 12 streamen. Wir gucken mal.
What are you so afraid of? That
Kann
I'm
ich
gonna end up
eigentlich.
like Sam? I
Ach,
can't get
das ist ja geil.
infected. I can take care of
How many
myself.
close calls have we had?
Well, we seem to be doing all right so far.
And now you'll be doing even better with Tommy.
Not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
Oh ja.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. But I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either
Doch, Ellie
died
weiß, was
or
Verlust
left me.
ist.
Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad.
Ich glaube, der Winter hat's bei Joel verändert.
And as we all await the release of Game 2, I'm revisiting Part 1 and talking with the visionaries and talent who made it.
Ich glaube, dass der Winter bei Joel irgendwas dafür gesagt hat,
beat by beat, so you can relive it with us. If you haven't listened to
ich
our
muss
first
Ellie
episodes
retten.
yet, be sure to go back and do that as we're walking through the story chronologically. In today's episode, we'll be covering the fall chapter as well as the DLC Left Behind. I'll be talking with Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson,
Das ist geil, sie
aka
reden
Joel and Ellie,
im
UI
Podcast
designer
über
Alexandria
beides, weil
Mionecki,
sie
and writer and creative director Neil Druckmann. At the end of our last episode, we were left with the tragic deaths of Henry and Sam. It's an unforgettable moment that sticks with me to this day, and it closes out the summer chapter of the game. Now we're in a new
Aber
season,
ganz
though. It's
ehrlich,
fall, and Joel and Ellie have made their way out of
ich
Pittsburgh,
finde, der
and they're on their way to
Winter
Joel's brother Tommy.
war ein richtig geiles Kapitel. Also auch mit dieser Winterpassage aus Left Behind, ne?
I guess
Aber
to talk about the fall, we have to back up a little bit.
so anstrengend er auch ist, aber er
The
ist.
whole summer section, especially
Finde ich toll.
Pittsburgh, is about Joel and Ellie learning to trust each other. It's like they don't like each other and they're learning to respect each other. Joel becomes, at the outset of Pittsburgh, Joel is overprotective.
And you just hang back like I told you to.
And we're trying to show it multiple times where he shoots Ellie down when she's trying to be helpful.
I'm glad I didn't get my head blown off by a goddamn kid.
Until eventually he gives her the rifle and he starts trusting her.
You seem to know your way around a gun. You reckon you can handle that?
And she proves herself in his eyes. And he's like bringing some of his guard down and he's opening up to her more.
How about something a little more your size?
Until Henry and Sam. Until he sees a reflection of their relationship embodied with these two other people, where Sam has now died and Henry has just experienced a fate worse than death and takes his own life. And Joel sees himself in that. So now that event has made himself distance himself from Ellie. And now his focus become, get her to my brother. I can't handle this. And that's where we come into fall, is like, you feel the tension between the characters. The relationship is different, and Joel is not answering Ellie's question the way he was in the end of summer.
Does that have anything to do with me?
Talk about it later.
Later.
And there's the moment of just walking, and when they find the small grave, when you're walking past the dam, and again, it's another reminder that children die in this world. And Joel says,
That's too small of a grave.
I forgot to leave that stupid robot on his grave. What should I do with it?
Ellie,
What?
and then of course Ellie's the one that admonishes Joel.
I want to talk about it.
no.
Why not?
How many times do we need to go over this? Things happen, and we move on.
As we head into Tommy's town, we haven't seen each other in how long? How long has it been since? And that was one of the questions that we asked. And of course, Neil answers like, "What do you think?" And Jeffrey has his version of like what happened, and I have my own version of what happened. And I like the fact that they're they're different.
I imagine Joel and Tommy have their own versions of what happened as well.
Absolutely. And to me, that's exactly why it's like those narratives are probably different. It's like, well, he said, no. What he's not telling you is that he said this first.
Don't even think about reaching for your weapon. Tell the girl to drop hers now.
Ellie, do as the lady says.
Okay.
Please tell me you're lost.
Oh, we didn't know the place was occupied. We're just trying to make our way through.
Through to where?
But what Joel is expecting to find on the other side of that gate is for his brother to go, get the fuck out of here.
They're all right.
But you know these people?
Know him.
And instead he grabs him.
He's my goddamn brother.
Tommy.
Holy shit.
And Joel is so taken back by that.
How you doing, baby brother?
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Let me look at you. You get fucking old.
Easy. It's going to happen to you, too.
This is Maria. Be nice to her. She sort of runs things around here.
Ma'am, thanks for not blowing my head off.
Would have been embarrassing, considering you're my brother-in-law.
We all gotta get wrangled up at some point.
Ellie, right?
Yeah.
What brings you through here?
It's kind of a long story.
Why don't we bring him inside?
Yeah. You hungry?
Starving.
Yeah, the whole idea of family is like something that's been instilled in me. Is like, you don't choose your family. Your family is who they are, and you deal with them, and you love them, and you respect them. And it's like, sure, sometimes you fight in horrible ways, but they're your family. You don't get to choose them. You don't get to push them out. And later, you know, we find out that Joel and Tommy had like a pretty big falling out. And yet when they see each other, they can't help but embrace each other and miss each other. And again, it's that idea of tribalism. And you could have overlaps of different tribes that you belong to. And here is one that's blood, his biological brother. So that was important to capture, especially knowing we're about to put them at odds with this request or almost demand that Joel makes of Tommy that take this girl off my hands.
I've been on quite the adventure, little brother.
I reckon it's got something to do with that girl.
It's got everything to do with that little girl.
Well, go on then.
She's immune.
Immune to what? Oh,
Seen her-
come on.
I know. I've seen her breathe enough spores to take down a dozen men, and nothing. Now, I wouldn't have believed it neither, but I can show you.
All right. I'll bite. Why bring her here?
I was supposed to deliver to the Fireflies. The way I figure they're your boys, you finish the job, you collect the whole damn payment.
I haven't seen a firefly in years.
You know where they are. Now, I'm not asking for much, Tommy. I just want some simple gear, enough to set me on my way.
What makes you think I'd do this for you?
This isn't for me, Tommy. This is for your damn cause.
My cause is my family now. You ain't talking about some walk in the park here.
Jesus, boy. Have Maria get some of your born-again friends to do it.
They
but
got families too.
Tommy, I need this.
You want some gear? Sure. But I ain't taking that girl off your hands.
I think that moment is that remembrance of Joel that this isn't a job. This is an investment in tragedy, and there's only one way this is going to play out. So it's a moment of cowardice of Joel. It's a complete abdication of everything of who he was as a father and who he is as a mercenary who is paid to do a job. And he's going to be neither of those things. And what he's going to do is he's going to pawn this girl off to, she's going to die, but I won't be anywhere near it when it happens.
Is he afraid of losing Ellie in the sense of even just giving her over to Tommy? Is there loss there or losing a mission? What does he have to go back to at this point? There's no test. Is there another gun run? Like, where is Joel?
He's lost. he doesn't have, what is he going to go back to the quarantine zone? He can't go back there. No one's there waiting for him. Matter of fact, if anybody is waiting for him, they're waiting to kill him.
Right.
He can't go. Where does he have to go?
Do you think in Joel's heart of hearts at that moment, he actually wants Tommy to say no?
I think if it didn't go down the way it did and Tommy just said yes, Joel would have rode off. I really do, because that to him would have been like, this is what's meant to be. And when he tells Ellie, like, you'll be safer with Tommy, there's a part of him in that moment that believes that. The thing that kind of changes his mind is when Ellie says,
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you.
so like that makes her feel safer, as being with Joel. Like she makes an argument of like, of course in the moment he doesn't hear her because he's just so caught up with her running away and her putting herself at risk. And it's like, right, it's like an angry parent. Every parent has had this, where you get so upset with your kid almost hurting themselves. Your kid gets frightened of like your reaction of like, because you're yelling at them or you're grabbing them by the shoulders. It's like, but it's because you're so scared for their safety, and you might be oversteering in your reaction. And that's exactly what Joel is doing at this point.
Is this really all they had to worry about? Boys, movies, deciding which shirt goes with which skirt. It's bizarre.
Get up. We're leaving. Come on.
And if I say no?
Do you even realize what your life means? Huh? Running off like that, putting yourself at risk? It's pretty goddamn stupid.
Well, I guess we're both disappointed with each other then.
What do you want from me?
Admit that you wanted to get rid of me the whole time.
Tommy knows this area
Oh,
better
fuck
than...
that.
Well, I'm sorry. I trust him better than I trust myself.
Stop with the bullshit. What are you so afraid of? That I'm gonna end up like Sam? I can't get infected. I can take care of myself.
How many close calls have we had?
Well, we seem to be doing all right so far.
And now you'll be doing even better with Tommy.
I'm not her, you know.
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some...
Ich frage mich gerade, ab welchem Punkt Joel gekippt
I'm
ist
sorry about your
innerlich.
daughter, Joel. But I have lost people too.
You have
Ob das
no
erst beim
idea
Sturz war, wie er
what
aufgespießt
loss
wurde,
is.
oder ob das wirklich erst im Winter war, dass er da
Everyone I have
so
cared
gesagt
for
hat,
has either
innerlich, nee, ich
died
muss Ellie
or left
beschützen.
me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more
Obwohl ich
scared.
glaube, dieser Überlebensinstinkt von Joel kam erst, wie Marlene gesagt hatte,
You're not my daughter.
ist zu spät,
And I sure as hell ain't your dad.
theoretisch.
I love that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes that we actually shot. And I believe that it's one of the most important moments in their relationship, because they both, to some degree, are opening up about some heavy stuff. And granted, it's a bit of a heated exchange, but they're getting stuff out. They're both trying to figure out how much they actually do care about each other. And it was always interesting to me that Joel assumed that Ellie didn't know what loss was, because how could you not know what loss is in this world? I mean, everyone has lost someone. But you can choose to not let people in, because if anything happened to that person, you'd have to experience that loss again. And Joel has learned to cope by distancing himself from people on purpose. And Ellie has absolutely thrown a wrench in that. But it's interesting to me how they both have recovered from loss. Joel with deciding to not let people in, and yes, Ellie is only 14 years old and hasn't had as much life experience as Joel has. But what's refreshing about that is she's on the other end of the spectrum. Yes, loss is hard, but we need people, and I'm going to let you in. And Joel is pushing it away, and Ellie's forcing him to realize that he does need people, and you're going to be hurt anyway, so you might as well be surrounded by people you care about. Ellie knows this about Joel. She's not stupid. She's young, but she sees his pain and she asks him what he's so afraid of because she knows. She's trying to make him talk about it, and that's why she says, I'm not her, you know. And she's smart. She puts 2 and 2 together, and she doesn't want to go on the rest of the journey with anyone else because at this point, she cares about Joel and she trusts him.
That moment was a baptism for both Joel and Ellie, and they were the people that they went under the water, and they came back up and was like, all right, I'm in. I'm fully in. We leave Tommy's town. There's the reconciliation there. There's forgiveness there, and it's like, all right, I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to do this thing that I'm going to do. I'm going to follow through on this.
There she is.
Where is this lab of theirs?
It's all the way out, University of Eastern Colorado.
Go Bighorns. Ellie, get off your horse. Give it on back to Tommy. I'm gonna hang on to this fella, if that's all right with you. Go on, don't make me repeat myself.
What are you doing?
Your wife kind of scares me. I don't want her coming after me.
Sorry for stealing your horse.
Look, come back to town. Let's discuss it at least.
You know me, my mind's all made up.
Also nur mal so bei am Rande,
University,
ne?
Eastern Colorado.
Ich hatte das ja schon im Let's Play gesagt, ne? Die Universität von aus Colorado existiert gar nicht. Die ist einfach nur einfach so dazu gedichtet. Also Colorado gibt's natürlich, ne? Aber die Universität dort nicht.
I'm good.
Adios, little brother.
So at this point in the game, Joel takes Ellie and they are off to the university.
Hey, over there. Is that it?
It does look like a giant mirror.
How many people do you think are there? Fireflies, I mean.
I reckon it takes quite a crew to run that operation.
You think there'll be other people my age?
I'm not sure.
There are no fireflies.
Yoo-hoo! Fireflies! Here for mankind over here. Anyone?
But
Darf
there
ich
are
dir mal was
monkeys.
ganz am Rande sagen?
Are those monkeys?
Yeah, a whole mess of them.
Weißt du eigentlich, wie viele Videos ich auf dem Kanal habe?
That was kind of awesome.
First time seeing a monkey.
Sicherlich sehr viele.
Laut der Google-Übersicht sind 2.500.
And I'm curious from a design standpoint, the purpose for monkeys at this moment.
Ja,
and all
steht
the
doch
things
jetzt
it
bei
could
Google
possibly
drin.
represent. I mean, like the larger story that moment is telling
So viel
in
ist
this
doch nicht,
world
oder?
that
Nee,
the
kann
characters
nicht
are
sein.
living in.
I'm
Du
sure it
kannst
started
nicht
with a
mehr haben als
brainstorm of like, okay, we
Gronk
knew we wanted to go
mittlerweile,
to
wie
this
viel du
university.
Gronk hat
gut
viel
bist.
mehr.
Also
We wanted to
Gronk hat viel
keep
mehr.
you on this trail, this clue chain to find the fireflies, and wanted to say they've done some research here. They were here trying to
Aber es
develop a
kommt
vaccine.
hin, weiß
They
wieso.
failed. And that's where the idea for like a monkey came up with at the end, like that they were testing monkeys.
Weil
Monkeys could get
WoW,
infected
Final
with this
Fantasy,
thing, unlike
also
other animals, and the
WoW
guy
alle
doing the research
Erweiterungen
was bitten
durch.
by them. And then we worked our way
Hat ja schon, ich glaube,
backwards from that moment,
430
which is at the
Folgen.
end of the
Final
level.
Fantasy
It's
hat
like, hey, what are interesting
330, da
things you
bist du
could
schon
see
bei
in this level as you're
700.
riding around and you're coming across all these dead ends.
So, und
It's
das,
like, well, if
was ja wirklich
he let all the
sehr
monkeys
viel
loose,
ist,
then
was
they
ich
should
ja
be like
habe,
a
ist ja
pack of
eigentlich
monkeys
Ani.
running around
Ich habe ja
here.
die gesamten VODs
And that way,
von
like, okay,
10
cool. Well, when
Jahren.
you crest this hill and you come across this fountain,
Ja,
then you can place all
stimmt
these
auch.
monkeys and
Auf
animate them.
Kanal
It
hat
becomes
gerade
this like kind of beautiful moment. That
2632
then sets up
Videos.
this
Okay.
disappointment of
Ach
us
du
finding
Scheiße.
later that everyone has already left.
I'm curious to what extent that loss
Naja.
continues for Joel and Ellie
Und der
in
meine
terms
Streams
of the
noch, ne?
false, and this isn't quite right, but the false starts and stops of hope they have, where so much of the game seems to be,
Du
if
hast
we
nicht
just
mal
get
mehr eine
this thing,
Beschreibung.
we'll get
Geil.
to this and we're
Bei
done.
YouTube?
If we
Nö.
now we just need to get to the university and we'll get
Glaube
this
ich
and it's
keine.
done. And feeling that loss each time, what keeps
Also ich
them
wüsste es
going?
jetzt nicht.
Why keep marching and why not pull a
Aber
Bill or pull
80.000
a Tommy
Aufrufe, das ist
and
schon,
put a tent down somewhere
schon
and
gut.
give it up?
Dafür, dass ich
and
das
the
erst 2
answer
Jahre
is
mache.
each other.
3.
That I guess for Ellie maybe it's a little more complicated. It's finding
Ja.
purpose in the loss. That's what drives her. And every time they experience another loss, it's more of a drive to finish this. It's more of a reason to keep going, not less
Ey, ich
of a
kann meine
reason.
Abonnenten
And
sehen.
then for Joel, and by the time we get to the university, so we kind of hit this low point where he was adamant about getting rid of Ellie. They have their biggest fight where she shoves him and tells him she's not his daughter, and he's just trying to be really mean to her to push her away. But it has the opposite effect where he realizes at that point it's got to be me. Like no one
Also
else
nicht
can.
alle,
Like
ne,
I'm the
aber
best
die
equipped to do
meisten.
this, and now he's just take it on, whatever that means. Like he's understanding that he
Crazy.
might feel the same
Final
loss he's
Fantasy
felt before,
14,
and he's realizing
330
maybe it's
Folgen.
worth it. So
Ne,
the
und
most
läuft
Hast du
schlechter
lange
and you
gebraucht.
hear it
als
in his
alles
voice
andere.
and their conversation they're having is like
Aktuell die
he's
meiste
telling her
sowas
now
bekommt.
like
Kann
he
ich
had a kid
sagen.
when he
Die
was really
besten
young.
Folgen
That
von
was really
Final
rough
Fantasy
on him.
14 ist, glaube ich, diese 14-Sekunden-Folge und Folge 1 mit der Charaktererstellung.
Yeah.
Und
Oder
Folge 2.
World of
Student,
Warcraft
please.
1.0 bis
Why
10.27
I
hat
had
einfach
7, I
400
was pretty
Folgen.
young.
Junge, das kann leben.
Naja, das
Were you
sind
mad?
20 Jahre WoW-Content.
What happened?
Okay.
TWW ist ja extra gelistet.
He misses like
Aber Final
singing
Fantasy
and
ist das
playing
schlechteste
guitar
LP,
and
was
When
gekommen
I was
ist.
a kid, I used to want to be
Du musst mehr Shorts machen.
a
Paar sind gut, paar sind schlecht. Also
I'm serious.
Von Final Fantasy.
No.
allgemein mehr
talking to
Shorts
Ellie
machen.
about
Achso,
like she wanted to be
eine
an
Folge wurde
astronaut.
gar nicht angeguckt, das ist sehr beruhigend. das fällt gar nicht auf bei der
Matter of fact.
Statistik.
Yeah. Can you imagine being up there all by yourself?
Ja, okay, es gibt. Naja, Final Fantasy 14, damit brauchst du auch nicht
And these
ankommen.
two characters are really opening up to each other in a way they haven't before. And of course, being cruel writers that we are,
Obwohl ich das
we're doing that
teilweise,
knowing that Joel is
also
about to
die
get
Erfahrung
impaled
schon
on a
gemacht habe, je
rebar
nachdem, wie du
and
die Folgen betitelst,
pretty much
anhand hast du
die as
mehr
far as the player
Aufrufe, warum
knows.
auch immer.
Yeah, when the definitive edition or whatever, another collector's edition comes out, I want the steel case
Ja,
with the
okay.
back of the box
Lieber
quote
nicht hingucken.
to be by you, and it says we're fucking cruel writers.
Da lief sogar Sons of the
Please enjoy
Forest
The
besser,
Last of
wo
Us
ich ohne
Part One.
Gegner gespielt
But,
habe.
I mean, like, we laugh, but to me, those are the best stories.
Ist so.
So you took us there, and I think it's a great place to continue the conversation of you gave them hope. You know, the team, Naughty Dog, the story, gives Joel and Ellie hope through the recordings.
They're looking for the fireflies. They've all left.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm dead.
Alter, 155
Will
Aufrufe.
be soon.
They find out where the fireflies are going.
Muss
They
noch mal
have their
Forest machen.
breadcrumbs. Hansel and Gretel are on the path. Everything's looking, here comes Mr. Brightside.
Good luck with that.
Ja, okay.
Do you know where that is?
Wir ignorieren das mal
I know
ganz
the
schnell wieder.
city.
Is it far?
It ain't close.
Ihr sollt euch auf den
Horseback.
Podcast konzentrieren.
What? The fireflies?
Get down.
And then Joel and Ellie are ambushed, and Joel is impaled.
Let's get to the damn horse.
Come on. Can you get on?
Oh oh.
It feels random. In the moment, it feels like, oh, it's just another group of hunters trying to kill us to steal our stuff. It's some faceless enemy, even though it is human. But as a player, you're almost been now conditioned to think of them as just, okay, it's just another NPC. And then later we wanted to give this moment more weight to say, no, it wasn't just any NPC. Like you fighting these guys had consequences going forward. You killing these people and then trying to kill you and injuring Joel has affected these whole other section that you're about to get into. And you won't know until the end of that section that that was the case or midway through that section. So that's what was important for us to show that one, it could just, these deaths, these moments can just come out of nowhere. Even with like, when you think about Henry and Sam, it was just like some random runner that just bit him. It wasn't, as far as you know, it wasn't some climactic moment. It wasn't this big heroic sacrifice. It just happens. And often in life, that's how these things go down.
And then after Joel is impaled, we continue to play as him. That is still the character that the player is in control of. And while pre-release marketing never, if I recall correctly, never let us know that we would play as someone else.
Yeah, not only that, we actively lied about playing as someone else.
Okay, so that's another back of the box quote.
Yeah, we wanted the player for this moment, to lose hope. That they've come to care for this guy, and they come to love this relationship these two characters have for one another. And this whole, we haven't talked a lot about mechanics, but the whole time you're getting better at controlling him, at the mechanics of using the guns, using melee, of protecting yourself, of relying on Ellie. You're upgrading your character, different abilities, so their stats are getting better, and that makes you kind of a stronger force to be reckoned with. And now we're stripping all that away. So now you're moving slower. You can't, when you try to run, Joel stumbles.
You handle the window?
Yeah.
Come on, move!
Your weapons sway way more. In fact, like as you're walking forward, there's like specific moments we have Joel just tumble down, or he like leans onto counters, and he's bleeding a lot. And we want you to start thinking, holy shit, is this guy gonna die? Is like Naughty Dog gonna kill off the main character here? So we want you to start asking that question.
Also es wäre wirklich wild gewesen, wenn Joel gestorben
Don't
wäre.
show you what happened, and you're only playing as Ellie. We want you to at least entertain.
Hätte ich mir nicht gewünscht, aber wäre wild.
And I felt like that was important for our medium and this kind of story, for you to play that transition and not just see it. So that was always going to be from the very first pitch, that was the reason to make this game, was this shift in perspective. That you have these kind of more stereotypical characters, that you have the protector and the protectee, and then you're going to flip it on its head. And then the quote unquote damsel in distress has to become the protector, and Joel is so incapacitated, she has to take care of him.
I think we're safe. Joel? Joel? Shit. Joel, here. Oh, get up, get up, get up. You gotta tell me what to do. Come on. You gotta get up. Joel?
You know, Ellie learned so much from Joel, and in that part of the game, we really see how much she's grown, and it shows how important their relationship has been. And we also see how fiercely loyal she is, and she wants to protect him and save him, not just to finish the journey, but because she cares so much about him. And of course, there's an extra layer of worry and anxiety now because she feels responsible, because this is post that conversation of her being like, hey, let's be there for each other. I think she needed that time of him not being able to tell her what to do for her to trust herself to grow. Of being like, hey, you're on your own. I've taught you as much as I can. Not that he put her out on her own on purpose, but I think she took all the knowledge that she learned from him and was able to help him and protect him.
What I love is that it didn't just slam to black, but that there's this moment that's delayed so that Joel could witness the fact that he is no longer capable of protecting her, which forces her once again to be in a situation where people are trying to kill her, and she is the one that ends up killing, and she does it so brutally and dispassionately, and she becomes we get to witness firsthand through those in and out of consciousness moments of Ellie becoming the protector.
What do you think Joel learned in those moments?
Well, I think it was one of those things for him that it was a big turning point, because he realized how much she cared about him, and that obviously he was in this position because of her, but he is still alive because of her. And I think up until this point in the game, he was trying to deny that he cared about her. And I think he realizes, I care so much about this person, and that sets up the rest of the game, of the decisions that he makes, where he's like, oh, this relationship is so important to me. I will do anything to keep this, because I've forgotten about this, and I've forgotten the importance of this.
bitten.
I know. It was kind of awesome. You're not gonna kill me, are you?
I haven't seen you, and I don't even know how long.
45 days. Well, 46, technically. Wanna know what I've been up to?
All this time, I thought you were dead.
Yeah. Here. Look.
No way. You're a firefly. Here, congrats.
Hey. Put some pants on and let's go.
I'm so dumb.
Oh, come on. When have we ever gotten into trouble?
So we're talking Left Behind, the DLC, or for some folks who came to the party late, the standalone DLC. And in Left Behind, we not only learned, as players, we got to see things that we didn't see in the main game, but we also learned more about Ellie's character that took place chronologically before the main game started. Actually, I'm curious for you if you always knew there would be DLC, or if not, what that was like when you got the call and you found out that you're going to be doing, going back in and making what became Left Behind.
I always knew that there was going to be a DLC. I didn't know what it was going to be about. And I feel like for most of the game, I just assumed it would be another part of Joel's story. And once we got closer to shooting the DLC and Neil sort of toying with some different ideas, he finally, he took me out and we talked about it and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I initially was nervous because I was like, well, and he's like, don't worry, Troy's still going to be in it, but it's, it's going to be part of this part of the story. And then there's going to be flashbacks. And I remember I was very excited and very interested to see how they were going to do that. And I remember some of the first art that I saw for it was the carousel of when the doors first open and the power is on in the mall.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Instantly, it made all the sense. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is the story that needs to be told.
Come on, get up here, sit next to me.
All right, wait up.
And now in the DLC, we step back and we see kind of what Ellie's maybe normal life would be like, whether it's, she's asleep in her room and Riley kind of busting in. And I'm curious what you thought Ellie's normal life was going into Left Behind. What was just a regular 9 to 5?
Yeah, Neil and I actually talked about this where, it's, and also trying to figure out why she was initially so scared to sort of sneak out and go into the mall. And, they have schedules to this life. And, she doesn't have any parents. So she's kind of with all these other kids that have lost their parents or their families, and they go to school, they run their drills, and they live this life just in this small quarantine zone. And it's all they know. They don't have anything else to compare it to, but we as an audience know what that comparison is. And I think that's what makes it devastating, because you're like, you could have such a different life than this, but this is what you're given.
And also for players, this is the first time we
Auch
found
wenn ich
out that
nicht
Ellie is queer.
so gut in
I'm
Englisch
curious
bin,
when
aber
you
wenn man
found
sich
that
so
out and what
konzentriert,
it
sich
was
das
like
zu
bringing that into
übersetzen,
the
dann
role.
finde ich geht's.
Yeah, I actually, when we had finished
Mit
the
unserem
game,
Schule...
right before we had started the DLC,
Für mich ist es
I think is
einfacher, da ich
when
tatsächlich
Neil
2
told
Hauptspieler
me,
habe, die
he's
nur
like,
auf Englisch
hey,
sind.
he's like, I want
Ja,
to
also,
talk
wenn,
to you
Leider.
also
about this and
vor
your
5
thoughts
Jahren
on
hätte ich es auch nicht
this.
übersetzen können, aber
I
mittlerweile so
have an
gedanklich, so
idea for the
jetzt Satz für Satz
DLC,
geht nun
and
auch
something
nicht,
that I've
aber
thought is I think Ellie is queer. And what are your thoughts on that? And I'm
Spiel du
pretty sure
mal
that's when it
Dead
happened.
Eastland.
I know for
Dead
me,
Eastland gibt's
for a
nur
lot
in
of
englischer
the first part
Vertonung.
of the
Nur
game,
in
we
Englisch.
hadn't
hätte
talked
ich
about
kein
Ellie's
Problem mit.
sexuality.
Englisch.
And
Boah, das ist lästig
I always
gewesen.
felt like when that was decided,
Ich habe damit kein
something
Problem,
clicked with
Spiele
Ellie
auf Englisch zu spielen.
because she's definitely queer. Like
Mache ich
it makes
öfters.
all the sense in the
Alleine.
world,
Also
and
wirklich.
Glück sind die
I wish
Texte
I would have known
Deutsch,
that
alles
from the
was
beginning,
gesprochen wird ist Englisch. Heißt,
because I don't know if I would have done anything
Glück
differently.
oder
Who
Glück
knows? But
für mich.
I was just so excited to jump into the DLC with that in
Liegt da nicht bei
mind,
dir auch
and
Koks draußen?
knowing that the friendship and the
Schnell genug,
relationship
ja.
with Riley was
Ist auch geil. Irgendwann wohnst du
there was
bei
a
mir in der
heavier
Ecke,
weight
weißt du,
there.
dann werde ich dich
Something that
irgendwann
I
fragen,
found
hat
so
es bei dir auch
personally
geschneit? Bist du
beautiful
doof?
about Ellie's character is that it
Wenn alles
worked.
klappt.
It worked in
Wenn
the main
alles
game
klappt.
before I had experienced
Naja, hab dich
Left
schon
Behind.
vorgewarnt, dass ich den Rechner
And
auseinanderpflücken will.
after learning Ellie's sexuality, there wasn't anything in the game that stood out as not working in my head. If anything, it let me re-examine scenes from the game and they became more powerful.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me, because I feel like playing the DLC and then going back and playing the game through, a lot of things do land a little harder, especially with Bill, when you're like, oh man, he's talking about his partner, and I really wonder how that landed for Ellie. And I feel like Left Behind is such a beautiful story of first love, and it's also incredibly sad because we know what the outcome is. But I do feel like it's great to play that and then go back to the first game with that knowledge, because Ellie becomes so much more of a well-rounded character.
Das klingt
My name's
irgendwie nach dem Lied
Alexandria
aus Teil 2.
Nanaiki. On Last of Us 1 and Left Behind, I was the UI designer.
So I'd love to start with what your day-to-day was.
It was a lot of trying to compress years worth of work into months. And so it was like, I would do these like wireframe mock-ups, and I would bring them to Bruce Straley and Neil and be like, hey, like, what do you think of doing something like this for the weapon cross? Or what do you think of something like this for crafting? And then I'd even try doing like some real minor scripting to try to make stuff work. So it was very like fly by the seat of your pants and like really chaotic. And then the next day it would be like, okay, let's look at it. Let's talk about what works and what doesn't work. Let's play through the game and feel it out. So it was very game designy, much more than like on the art side of things. And it was very collaborative. It was a lot of getting out of my seat and working with Neil and Bruce and the other designers as well and programmers to try to get it done and get it as good as we could get it with the limited resources we had and the limited time that we had.
So you mentioned kind of the weapon wheel or the weapon selector and crafting. What are other UI moments that players have likely seen when they experience the game that maybe they didn't think of as something that needed to have art and design and that stuff associated with it? The things I think a lot of us maybe just take for granted.
I mean, anything that's giving you the player kind of game specific information. So the little icons at the bottom that tell you what weapon you have equipped, how much ammo you have, if you're able to craft something. So every little, it's that like layer on the screen that's between you as the player and the game itself. It's like the thing that you are actually interacting with in an attempt to interact with the game, I guess, if that makes any sense. All the menus, so including multiplayer in factions, I did all of the menu design for that and any of the UI that ended up in factions as well.
You don't know how many people just let out a cheer when you mentioned multiplayer and factions.
Yeah, the Last of Us multiplayer is awesome.
It's so good. Do you think there were more challenges in making UI for a game that is so grounded in realism versus whatever your example would be of like a video game where numbers are flying off of things, you know, and it can be bombastic and whatever because it's not this grounded universe?
I think that's twofold, because there were definitely people in the studio who wanted to have that more like classic video game thing, especially if you look at something like multiplayer, like, you know, you're kind of used to seeing certain things in games like that. But there was kind of the blessing of there not being enough time. And so we had prototyped some stuff that for the UI that had a bit more of like texture to it. But because we had so little time, it was easier for me to push that. I like really minimal stuff. I feel like you notice it less. Like if something's really tactile, it kind of starts to stand out, especially because you can't control how the user's going to see it. Like if they're looking at it against like a bright sky, it's going to look different than looking at it against like a dark, like going through a tunnel situation with a flashlight. So minimal stuff can kind of reduce some of that a little bit, and it helps it blend into the background a bit more, so it's not pulling attention to itself. And so I had known that that's what I wanted to do with it, and most people as well in the company knew that that's what they wanted to see with it, very minimal, to allow more attention to go on the story and the art in the game. But of course there's people, and like because Naughty Dog, everyone gets to have a say. Like sometimes you'd get people that were like, you know, oh, I like it when games look more like the World of Warcraft type of UI, and it's like, okay, well, it's a different style of game, and we don't have time, so we're not going to do it. So yeah, it was kind of a blessing.
Let's take a minute to talk through Left Behind, because it serves the purpose of filling in a gap, both in Ellie's backstory and also the moments in the main game that we didn't see of her taking care of Joel. For many players, myself included, who played The Last of Us Part 1 at launch, it was a chapter we all played after having experienced the ending and, you know, feeling whatever it is we felt towards Joel and Ellie. I'm curious your take on how that after the fact experience maybe colors players' perceptions of the end and what that moment of caretaking was like for Ellie in Joel's time of need.
It all felt to me like strengthening that moment where they're in the girl's room where Ellie has run away and Joel finds her and they have that kind of spat, that fight. It kind of strengthened that for me where it's like, okay, Ellie, like that you don't really get much into how much loss Ellie has experienced. And so to me, Left Behind was about that. It was like, Joel's not the only person in this world who's experienced extreme loss. This very young girl from a very young age has had nothing but loss in her life, and that's obviously affected her. On the DLC, the thing that I did the most was in-game branding, so like fake mall logos, and I even did like fake Twitter accounts and all this stuff because it takes place in two malls. There's like the Colorado Mall, and then there's the Boston Mall where she's spending time with Riley. So the Colorado Mall, which is the mall where you're trying to scavenge stuff to help Joel, is an older mall. We decided that it would have been one of those, and this was like not just me, by the way. This is very much a group effort in these decisions, as anything
I'll take
is.
credit for it. It was all me, yeah.
So that mall was made to feel more like, I don't know if you remember malls in the early 90s that like were like a little darker inside, and like in some places people still smoked in them, and there's a lot of tile everywhere. So it's meant to feel a lot older. And then whereas the Boston Mall, which is I think called like Liberty Gardens or something like that, that was supposed to be like one of your high end, like it would have been at the time in 2013, like a very nice, very new, updated mall that had new stores. It was really interesting, the stuff that I went through with trying to come up with these, because like a lot of the branding that I ended up doing would be stuff that like I wouldn't make that choice to do as a designer. Like if I was doing someone's branding, I wouldn't use the fonts that I use, and I wouldn't I did on purpose bad kerning in some things because it was like, well, that's what real malls look like, and you want to make it so that it doesn't feel too noticeable. So that was more Colorado Mall was very kind of like, you know, mom and pop stores that had cropped up in this mostly dead mall, and then the Liberty Boston Mall was like there was like a doll store similar to like an American Girl doll store, and like there's a Swirls yogurt, like frozen yogurt, which has obviously been popular since whenever, but was very popular back in 2013 when it hit like its peak of everyone getting really excited about it. So yeah, it was like a lot of thought went into that, the type of stores that she was going into and what colors are being used in the two malls, how those color palettes played off of each other, so that you would know, since we were jumping around in time, you would know like, okay, now I'm in the Colorado Mall versus the Boston Mall.
Yeah. You ready for this?
What are we doing? Whoa, 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 whoa. Riley, come here.
No, you got this. Go.
What the heck? This is awesome.
I feel like Left Behind is, had I not played it after playing part one, I would maybe think like what a delightful little indie game this is of wonderful moments. Instead, I knew at some point the other shoe was going to drop, where these wonderful moments would not be bookend with a rainbow and Riley and Ellie saying, "See you tomorrow," to one another as they go their separate ways. And I think a moment that kind of led up to that, as we kind of build to this crescendo, if you will, is Riley and Ellie dancing. Ellie's Walkman Riley finds a way to play the music from it. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I saw, was it concept art that you drew of that moment of the two of them dancing? Is that right?
Ihr glaubt
That
doch
was
nicht, dass ein
actually
Böllerverbot alles
after the
regelt.
fact. That was like it's kind of fan art, I guess, but it was for the
Artistischer
Gallery Nucleus
durch.
show that we did for the 30th anniversary.
Die
It's such a
üblichen Nachrichten
beautiful
des
moment.
Jahres.
What inspired you to make that piece?
Oh yeah, I mean it's probably my favorite. Her and Riley dancing, and yeah, I mean it's something that we hadn't seen in a AAA game. Like I feel like
Aber
we've
gut, das ist ein
seen
anderes
stuff like
Thema.
that in like indie games at the time, but to see like a lesbian couple like that in a AAA quality game was like I'd never seen anything like that. So it felt very special, and I know it meant a lot to so many fans. Like we have a very a fan base that runs the gambit, a lot of ages, a lot of genders and everything, but we particularly at the time had a very strong fan base of young women, and so to see that played out in a game that they love by a company they loved, I know meant a lot to them, and so that meant a lot to me that we could really touch people like that and make them feel seen in a game of this quality.
What is that? Hey, what's wrong?
Don't go.
Ist auch so ein Ding, wenn Riley nicht gegangen wäre,
For what?
also nachdem sie wiedergekommen ist, hätten sie den nicht so oder so gekillt.
What do we do now?
We'll figure it out.
Gedanken, über
favorite
die
part
wir
of the
niemals eine
DLC.
Antwort bekommen.
That and the video game when they play the turning and
Boah,
Riley's
richtiger
like, "All right,
Plot-Twist
I'm
für
gonna
The
break
Last
this
of Us
down."
3. Riley ist gar nicht gestorben, die
For a
lebt
second,
immer
I thought I
noch.
was gonna play it.
Close your eyes. You're playing as the unstoppable, claw-wielding,
Aber
yet
wird auch keinen Sinn
drop-dead
ergeben,
gorgeous Angel Knight.
wenn Ellie sagt, sie ist tot.
She stands on the edge of the Shadow Temple. Your opponent, Black Fang,
Wäre aber witzig.
steps out of the temple. Round one starts. Black Fang rushes towards you. He throws a double punch in your direction. Jump up! He grabs you. Mash punch to break free. Yes! Fuck him up!
Finish him.
The screen turns dark. Angel Knives' blades begin to glow. She pierces his torso again and again until his heart flies right out of his chest. She winds back her leg and roundhouses his head clean off. A geyser of blood covers the entire playing field.
Oh, nice.
That is an ultra kill. You win.
Fuck yeah, I win.
Not bad for your first game.
It was all right.
You loved it.
Yeah, I kind of did.
It's beautiful, and even when I replayed it recently, I was like, oh, I wish this would have ended differently, but then I know we wouldn't have the first game. But she taught Ellie a lot in the time that they knew each other of like, yeah, life is hard, but try to find some happiness somewhere. And Riley's doing that the whole game. She's like, come on, get out of bed. Let's go. Like, I'm going to take you someplace really super awesome. I remember Neil sort of breaking down what was going to happen in that moment. And, you know, for me, shooting the scene, I was just standing in front of,
Bin wir dran.
you know, like a
Ja,
big
gut.
block of wood. And then just like
Mutter wollte
pretending
was
that I'm
geklärt
doing
haben noch.
something. And then like, you know, eyes closed. And then Yanni was like talking to me about the game and doing her whole bit. And I literally was just kind of standing there, like acting like I was playing with controls with my eyes closed and smiling every once in a while. And, you know, trying to sort of visualize what I think Ellie was seeing. But when I actually played it in the game, I was like, this is such a good idea. It's such a cool game mechanic because it's it also shows how much Riley cares about Ellie, because she knows she has been wanting to play something like this, and she gives her that experience in her own way. And that's why you're like, ah, Riley's the fucking best. And it makes all the sense why Ellie has feelings for her and she loves her and she wants to hang out with her all the time. And I love that moment because it's such an act of kindness and happiness that Riley wants to give Ellie. And I think all of those moments, you know, with the carousel or with the Halloween masks or even in the photo booth, and those moments feel so special because we as an audience know they're so few and far between. I want her to have these moments. And I love this DLC so much, and so much of it is because of flopping the game mechanics of like the water gun fight or taking the brick to have it be like a contest of breaking the windshield. And I think it's very, very clever, but also story-wise, it lets us know so much about Ellie and how important Riley was to her and her life before meeting Joel, and her life before being defined by being immune, which I feel like when that happens, you know, which we don't see at the end of the DLC, but we know that she never turned, and we don't know the horror that she saw with Riley turning and nothing happening to her, and how she got out of there. There's a lot left that's unsaid that we can only imagine how hard that must have been. The weight that Ellie will always carry with her of like, well, why didn't that happen to me too? Or like, I wish I could have done something. I wish I could have helped her. I wish we would have left earlier so she could still be here. And I think the fact that they kissed right before they ended up getting attacked, I think that was the first time Ellie experienced that. It was her first kiss, her first crush, and that probably doesn't happen a lot in this world of connecting with someone physically and emotionally like that, because it's intense. It's too hard to sort of have that, you know, and Joel talks about this with Tess in the game of like, you know, getting close to someone is good for one thing, and that's, I don't know, maybe it's Bill who says it.
Look, let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, I had somebody that I cared about. And in this world, that sort of shit's good for one thing: getting you killed.
Basically, if you have that connection with someone, it's dangerous. And Riley's her first love, will always be her first love, and she carries her with her. And even when I was shooting the second game, I was thinking a lot about Riley. You know, for most actors or anything that you're doing in any form of art, loss plays a really big role. It's one human emotion that we've all experienced in some way. And I lost my dad when I was 16, and it's so weird at that age to try and think of the important conversations to have that you know are going to be your last. And we knew he had cancer, so we had time with him, which I'm thankful for that, because it wasn't something that was abrupt. I mean, it's all shitty, but you know, it was, we tried to sort of talk about all of the things that we thought would be important at that time. And what do you say? Like, what do you say at that age? And I think about it all the time. I wish for more time, because I would say different things now. I would ask different things. But I mean, it's crazy at my age to think that I only had 16 years with him, and that I've lived more life without him than I had with him. But the impact he made was paramount on my life. I mean, my dad was everything, and I miss him like hell every single fucking day. It just doesn't go away. But the feeling that you can't go on goes away, thankfully. But the missing piece that was once there, that loss, that never goes away. And I think everybody can relate to that. So just like you or anyone else, you carry your pain with you, so does the character that you're playing. So, and I also think that's why I was so drawn to this particular story, because everyone in this game has lost something, and they're trying to move forward because they have to, and they're desperately searching for meaning and connection, which is what we're all doing.
Oh, der Biss.
I think it's clear.
Ellie, your arm.
No.
There's some more stuff over there you can break.
What are we gonna do?
The way I see it, we got two options. Option one, you take the easy way out. It's quick and painless. I'm not a fan of option one. Two, we fight.
Fight for what?
Ich hab gleich noch was, okay?
We're gonna turn into one of those things.
There are a million ways we should have died before today. And a million ways we can die before tomorrow. But we fight for every second we get to spend with each other. Whether it's 2 minutes or 2 days, we don't give that up. I don't want to give that up. My vote? Let's just wait it out. You know, we can be all poetic and just lose our minds together.
Next week on the official The Last of Us podcast.
We don't have to do this.
After all we've been through. I love that that's the story, because we're so flawed as humans.
You and your friend killed how many men?
I think love is the thing that connects all of it.
Tell them that Ellie is the little girl that broke your fucking finger.
There's this, again, this whole philosophical debate of how far are you willing to go to protect your child?
You keep finding something to fight for.
It can't be for nothing.
The official The Last of Us podcast is produced by PlayStation and Spoke Media. It's hosted by me, Christian Spicer, and written by Brigham
Das sind
Moses.
extra.
Our Sony PlayStation team includes Charlie
Also das ist
Gator,
nicht ein Podcast
Christian
in dem Sinn, das
Cardona,
ist einfach nur
and
für
Carrie
das Behind
Surtees.
gedreht worden.
Our Naughty Dog team includes Arnie Meyer and Scott Lowe. Our production team is
Ist ja
Carson
krass.
McCain, Kelly Kolf, Trey
Dafür, dass wir
Jones,
das jetzt schon
Reyes
dreimal
Mendoza,
gehört haben, hat
and
es auch
Alicia
schnell
Force.
mitgekriegt.
This episode was mixed by Evan Arnett, who contributed additional sound design and music. Today's episode included interviews with Neil Druckmann, Troy
Wenn du
Baker,
nicht mal die
Ashley
Story
Johnson,
von Planet
and
Planet
Alexandria
richtig
Nianik.
verstehen tust.
Executive
Und es wird
producers
schon
are
gut
Leah Tavakolian and Keith
erläutert,
Reynolds. Thanks for listening.
Ja, bei Final Fantasy 14 sind wir raus. So, ich habe etwas, was ein bisschen Licht in die Sache bringt. Darüber philosophieren wir ja eigentlich schon seit 20 Folgen. Ich habe eben mal heimlich ein bisschen gegoogelt.
Mhm.
Ich muss dazu sagen, ich habe die Serie nicht gesehen, bis auf Folge 1. Ich habe die noch auf dem Rechner drauf. Ich muss die mal irgendwann bei Zeit mal gucken. Aber im Finale von The Last of Us, also von der Serie, nicht vom Spiel, sondern vielleicht steht es auch im Spiel. Ich muss mal gucken, ob ich das Spiel hat uns ja gesagt, wenn ich neu anfange, dann habe ich ja alles im Inventar. Wir müssen mal ganz am Ende vielleicht das Buch nochmal lesen. Vielleicht steht da irgendwas drin. Aber in der Serie gibt's folgende Szene und ich habe hier also ich habe hier zumindest einen Text, was die Szene beschreibt. Ellie ist immun gegen den Cordyceps-Pilz. Ach, sag bloß, das wussten wir ja noch nicht. Weil der Pilz seit ihrer Geburt in ihrem Körper wächst, aber mutiert ist und einen chemischen Botenstoff produziert, der andere Pilzstränge denken lässt, sie sei bereits eine von ihnen, weshalb sie nicht angreift, aber ihr Gehirn nicht zerstört wird. Die Serie erklärt, dass ihre Mutter Anna kurz vor der Geburt gebissen wurde und der Pilz durch die Nabelschnur in Ellie gelangte, was eine seltene Reaktion auslöste, die sie immun machte, so dass ihr Immunsystem ihn bekämpfte, anstatt sich zu verwandeln. So, und das ist eigentlich das, was ich ja mit dir schon seit 25 Folgen erzähle. Und dass die Mutter vor der Geburt, also nicht die Mutter vor der Geburt, aber Ellie vor der Geburt irgendwie einen Kontakt haben musste zum Infizierten und Hallo Mikrowelle und ich müsste echt mal die Serie nochmal gucken. Aber warte mal, wollen wir mal? Wir sind gerade, die Folge geht noch 2 Minuten. Wir wollten eigentlich was nachgucken. Comics 3 von 3, Comics 2 von 2, Comics 2 von 2, 1 von 1. Ich hab's dir gesagt. Wo hab ich einen liegen gelassen? Wo hab ich ihn liegen gelassen? Im Winter. Ich hab's dir gesagt und lass mich raten, wo. Ich hab... Hä?
Im Hauptgebäude?
Nein, das war am Anfang der ersten Passage bei der Jagd. Da irgendwo liegt ein Comic.
Wow.
Aber ich glaube, ich weiß wo. Ich glaube, ich weiß wo. Es gibt einen im Haus, wo das Reh ist. Ich glaube, der ist das, den ich nicht genommen habe, weil ich habe den anderen an der Bank gefunden oben. Ja, Trainingsbücher habe ich liegen gelassen, Messertüren auch. Ja, okay, das interessiert uns nicht. Nein, ich wollte aber was anderes. Lass mich mal dahin. Automatischer Waffenwechsel. Kann ich auf das Inventar zugreifen? Ja. Ach, ich spiele ja mit Ellie. Ich bin ja bescheuert, ne? Das funktioniert ja gar nicht. Ich muss ein anderes Kapitel nehmen. Ich spiele ja ganz am Ende mit Ellie. Warte. Keine Ahnung, was hab ich? Wo gibt's was, wo ich Joel hab? Bibliothek. Ich nehme einfach mal den. Ich bin ja auch doof, ne? Aber wenigstens ich hab's dir gesagt, das ist der Winter. Ach, guck mal. Wenn ich, aber warum haben wir in Teil 1 das... Ist auch geil, wie ich da einfach reinrennen weiß. Aufzeichnungsgerät, Foto von Joel und Sarah, Karte des Seebadeorts, Firefly-Aufzeichnungsgerät. Ist es das hier, das Tagebuch? Ja. Wollen wir das noch lesen? Als kurzes, als Ende? 15. März. Wir haben endlich die Grenze von Utah überquert. In einigen Tagen werden wir, und am Ende haben wir schon mal gelesen und wissen das gar nicht mehr, werden wir wieder bei den anderen sein. Heute ist die Mannschaft bei besserer Laune. Ich habe mir Sorgen um die Moral gemacht, seitdem Greg und Tanja letzte Woche von uns gegangen sind. Es tut gut, sie mal wieder lachen zu hören. Robin kam zu mir und sagte, danke, dass du auf uns aufgepasst hast, Marlene. Es war eine kleine Geste, aber ich habe sie gebraucht. 23. März. Ellie hat es nie geschafft. Wir haben das Krankenhaus erreicht. Es wurde gefeiert, zumindest von den anderen. Sie freuen sich, ihre alte Freunde wiederzusehen. Manche von ihnen haben wir bereits über 10 Jahre nicht mehr gesehen. Nachdem sie mir die Neuigkeiten berichtet hatten, konnte ich nicht essen. Ich konnte mit niemandem sprechen. Ich sollte dankbar sein dafür, dass ich noch lebe. Aber jetzt will ich nur die Augen schließen. 24. März. Sie sehen mich an und ich weiß, was sie denken. Sie denken, dass wir ein paar unfähige Anfänger sind. Was hätte ich tun sollen? Ich dachte, ich würde sterben. Meine Männer wurden vom gesamten Bostoner Bataillon gejagt. Ich musste sie aus der Stadt schaffen. Wie hätte ich wissen sollen, dass die Firefly-Eskorte bereits tot war? Verdammt! Ich bin in Panik geraten. Letztlich sind meine Wunden schnell verheilt und meine Männer waren fähiger, als ich es erwartet hatte. Moment, ist es das, wo wir praktisch währenddessen die ganze Zeit gespielt haben und Marlene vor uns gerannt ist? Nee, kann ja nicht, wenn es um Ellie geht. Dann muss es ja noch davor gewesen sein. Nee, wäre ja Quatsch. Wie soll das denn funktionieren? Stattdessen habe ich sie in den Händen von Schmugglern gegeben. Ich habe dich enttäuscht, Anna. Ich habe uns alle enttäuscht. Ach, guck mal, da fällt der Begriff Anna. Und ich glaube, nur durch die Serie weißt du, dass es die Mutter ist. Ich bin eine unfähige Anfängerin. 25. April. Ich kann nicht mit ihnen reden. Ich hatte die Blicke nicht mehr aus. Ich kann nicht bleiben. 28. April. Einer unserer Kundschafter hat uns gerade angefunkt. Er hat gesehen, wie ein älterer Mann und ein junges Mädchen den Tunnel beim Busbahnhof betreten haben. Stopp. Ein älterer Mann und ein junges Mädchen. Dann kann das aber nicht die Vergangenheit sein, dann muss es ja die Gegenwart sein. Aber warte mal. Ja, es steht hier auf, wir haben das Krankenhaus erreicht. Aber du kannst mir doch nicht erzählen, dass sie da ist, ihre Wunden verheilt sind. Oh, bin ich blöd. Na klar ist das die Gegenwart. Wir haben doch im Frühling gespielt. Hm. Ja klar, und, ja, okay, Marlene hat, ich warte eigentlich darauf, dass uns gleich ein Runner anspringt, weil wir die ganze Zeit da unten stehen. Er sagte, sie könnten rothaarig sein, ist sich aber nicht sicher. Was, wenn es sie ist? Hör auf, Marlene. Der Aufklärungstrupp wird sich auf den Weg machen. Ich werde mich ihnen anschließen. 28. April. Wenn du dich in der Dunkelheit verirrt hast, such nach dem Licht. Ach Gott. Sie lebt. Sie führen jetzt die Tests an ihr durch. Ja, okay, es ist die Gegenwart von dem. Ich kann nicht sagen, ob ich aufgeregt, ängstlich oder bloß nervös bin. Ich weiß nur, dass meine Hände nicht aufhören zu zittern. Was mit dem Aufnahme? Ich habe hier noch 2. Das ist jetzt ein ganz großer Fehler, wetten.
28. April. Marlene hatte recht. Die Infektion des Mädchens ist außergewöhnlich. Der Grund für die Immunität ist unbekannt. Bisher zeigten alle Fälle, dass die Antigentäter des Cordyceps im Serum und in der Rückenmarksflüssigkeit hoch bleiben. Blutkulturen der Patientin entwickeln unter Laborbedingungen rasant Cordyceps. Die weißen Blutzelllinien bleiben jedoch normal, sowohl prozentual als auch absolut. Es gibt keine Erhöhung des proinflammatorischen Zytokins. Ein MRT des Gehirns zeigt keinerlei Pilzbefall im limbischen System, was normalerweise mit dem Prodrom Aggression infizierter Patienten auftritt. Unser Ziel muss sein, diesen Zustand unter Laborbedingungen herzustellen. Wir stehen vor einem Meilenstein der Menschheitsgeschichte, wie der Entdeckung des Penicillins. Nach Jahren fruchtloser Forschung sind wir fast am Ziel. Haben Erfolge und schenken der menschlichen Rasse wieder Kontrolle über ihr Schicksal. Alle unsere Opfer und die vielen Männer und Frauen, die alles gaben. Es ist nicht umsonst gewesen.
Es ist 17:30 Uhr am 28. April. Ich hatte ein Gespräch, ja, ein Streit mit dem Chirurgen. Man kann den Parasiten offenbar nicht entfernen, ohne den Wirt zu töten. Es wäre also das Todesurteil für die Kleine. Und jetzt wollen sie mein Einverständnis. Die Prüfungen werden immer härter und härter, nicht wahr? Ich bin müde. Ich bin erschöpft. Es soll nur zu Ende sein. Es muss sein.
Und wir sehen alle, wohin das geführt hat. Aber es fehlt ein Aufzeichnungsgerät, das ist nur eins. So, was haben wir hier? Foto von Joel und Sarah. Glückwunsch. Karte des Seebadeorts.
Das wird Schule Ellie behalten. Sie brauchen Vaterfigur oder irgendwie einen Elternteil von beiden.
Sie sind weg. Ich bin tot. Oder bin es bald. Ich hatte Zeit nachzudenken. Das hier war das Wichtigste für mich und jetzt werde ich nicht mehr sehen, ob wir es schaffen. Ich traf die Fireflies kurz nach dem Ausbruch. Es waren Leute, die alles tun wollten, um uns vor der Seuche zu retten, während der Regierung nur noch der Rückzug einfiel. Ich wollte unser Land nicht aufgeben, die Menschheit aufgeben. Oh Gott, das klingt banal. Wie auch immer. Es gab Jahre, da schienen wir etwas zu schaffen, als ob wir der Sache Herr werden könnten. Ihnen folgten immer Jahre tiefster Verzweiflung. Als ob der ganze Scheiß reine Zeitverschwendung wäre. In den letzten Jahren war es fast immer so. Es gab keinen Durchbruch mehr seit dem Test des Passivimpfstoffs vor, wann? Vor 5 Jahren? Jetzt ist das ganze Labor gefährdet und die Anführer haben entschieden, die Uni zu verlassen. Ich bin nur noch müde. Ich schaffe das nicht mehr. Ich werde das nicht mitmachen. Wenn Sie hier die anderen suchen, sie sind im St. Mary Krankenhaus in Salt Lake City. Sie finden sie dort, dabei die Welt zu retten. Viel Glück damit.
Ach, das ist die Tonbandaufnahme, die komplette, die Joel im Cinematic übersprungen hat.
Natürlich. Meinst du, Schule hört sich die ganzen Meckerei von ehemaligen Wissenschaftlern an?
Eher weniger, aber es...
Meckern, dass er müde ist?
Eher weniger, aber es bringt ein bisschen Licht in die Dunkelheit. Ja, okay. Eine Folge gibt's noch. Ich weiß nicht, ob ich die Folge auseinanderschnibbel und das als BTS mache, also als BBTS mache. Aber auf jeden Fall bringt das ein bisschen Licht ins Dunkeln. Und ich bin froh, wenn das Let's Play in 80 Folgen zu Ende ist. Ja, auf jeden Fall sehen wir oder hören uns nochmal. 2 Folgen bleiben ja dann. In der letzten Folge. In den nächsten beiden. Und danach geht's wieder mit Gameplay weiter. Und dann... Ja, glaube ich, müssen wir uns langsam anfreunden, dass wir diesen netten Herrn das letzte Mal sehen. Na gut, ich würde mich von dir verabschieden. Danke, dass wir uns heute nochmal zusammenfinden durften. Heute ein bisschen länger und dann morgen vielleicht die anderen beiden. So dass wir dann übermorgen wieder Gameplay machen dürfen und erfahren dürfen, ob wir einen Impfstoff zur Rettung der Menschheit bekommen. Eher weniger. Na gut, bis dann.
Aber zu humanen Zeiten wie gewöhnlich wie jetzt.
Was?
14 Uhr rum, 15 Uhr rum.
Ja, darum bitte ich dann auch. Vor allem, wenn wir dann wieder Gameplay machen, weil ich hatte nicht vor, nur eine Folge jeden Tag aufzunehmen.
Ich schlafe halt lange am Wochenende.
Ja.
Ich kann früh aufstehen, dazu wie du.
Ja, Entschuldigung, heute ist Samstag. Ja, ich gebe dir recht. Ja, ist ja okay. Ja, dann sehen wir uns gleich im Stream wieder, ne?
Ah.
Na gut, bis dann. Ciao, Joel.
Jo.